Hey everybody, this is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast, episode number 482, and I'm going to call this one, It's Dangerous Out There. And I'll explain why. I'm going to get right to it. There are times when people want you to do something for them, and they're so focused on the outcome that they don't pay attention to the things that can happen around them, or the circumstances, or the repercussions. They're not paying attention to it. They lock in, and it takes somebody from the outside who has different experiences to tell them that what they're doing is not exactly the safest thing in the world. And sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't. Now, they don't necessarily mean anything by it. They're not necessarily trying to put you in peril, but they're so locked in on the outcome that they don't understand the circumstances that are around it. Had a friend of mine, he's part of a couple, and neither one of them kind of grew up anywhere near the hood. They had a different type of lifestyle. I grew up hood adjacent. I'm not a gangster by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a criminal. I've never done anything against the law. I've never been arrested or anything like that. But I did grow up around those folk. And some of them were, casual friends of mine and friends of friends. So I knew them. And so I have a different perspective of how things go in the quote, real world, unquote, because I'm aware of dangers that they may not necessarily be aware of. This is what I'm talking about. I have an address that the block behind me has an address that's very, very similar. So if a new mail carrier comes along occasionally, my mail will go to that person's house or that person's mail will come to my house. Fortunately, we're both honest people. So it really it's more of an inconvenience than anything else. And we're at the point now where we know each other well enough where if that person's mail comes into my slide, I just walk over there, walk on their porch, slide the mail in, and occasionally they'll be there and I don't know, and they'll look out the window and they'll go, "Hey, it's Anthony. They did it again, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." Or I'll see mail come through my door slot at a time after the mailman normally comes or before, and I'll see the mail come through and I'll recognize the hand and I'll laugh and I'm going, "Hey, get out of here." And they start laughing from the other side of the door. I walk out, I shake their hand. It's a thing. But it didn't start out that way. There was a time before I knew who this person was where I got their mail. This is the beginning. And what happened was I wanted to give them their mail back. And I said, "No, I'm going to do it in the morning." But at the time I didn't know who they were. So I'm not going to walk on somebody's porch at 10 o'clock at night. They have this little tiny light above their door and I'm going to walk on their porch and I'm going to have their package in my hand. If you see somebody on your porch at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, it's dark on your porch, and you see a guy standing there with a package that has your name on it, you're going to think what? That he's trying to steal the package. So I was wise enough to know not to do that. And first of all, I wanted to get that person's phone number because I was definitely not even going to walk over there and knock on the door. I'm not doing that either. I know where that can go. We've seen enough of that on the news. And that didn't just start now when people shoot you through the door or open the door and start blasting. We know what the deal is. And I had a relative of mine they were staying at my house I think they were visiting me or something like that. And my nephews were over. They were going, "Hey, why don't you just send him over there?" And I'm like, "I'm not sending him a young guy with his hat turned backwards onto somebody's porch late at night. I'm not doing that. Doesn't make any sense." Now that's my experience. And I, of course, found the person's phone number online, called them, and I told them, "Look, I'm kind of your neighbor. I'm across the street. My address is this." And I said my address, which is very similar to your address. This is not a crank call. I'm not trying to set you up or anything like that. I have a package here for you from, and I read the person's name. So now they know I know their address, and I'm saying the name of someone that they know from a package, and it was a package that they were expecting. So they know it's not a setup. And I said, "My car is parked behind my house." I described my car. I described myself. I said, in 5 minutes, I'm going to walk outside and I'm going to wave the package standing next to my car, which you've seen parked there before. And then you flash the light so I'll know you saw me, and then we'll meet and I'll hand you your package. And that's what happened. We shook hands. "Oh, that's great." And then, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, now we're at the point where if there's a package that goes back and forth, I'll just run over and drop it in their door. They'll run over and drop it in my door. Fine. That worked out fine. Fast forward a few years. I'm visiting some friends of mine. And like I said, I have some friends that are a little nerdy around the edges, right? I love them to death. They're my buddies, but they're a little nerdy. It's a couple. I know the wife. I know the husband. They're both friends of mine, but they did not grow up anywhere near hood stuff. They don't get it, and they're not aware of certain dangers that apply. Okay. Something similar happened. where a piece of mail was dropped over. I'm hanging out. We're watching something on TV, like a fighter thing. If I remember correctly, we're all sitting there. He's about to send his son down the block across the street onto somebody else's property with their package. And I just described what could possibly happen, but they didn't believe me. They didn't believe that was possible. They didn't understand the dangers of sending your teenage son to someone's dark house on their property at night, holding a package that belongs to them. And I said, and they were going to do it. And I overheard him. I said, whoa. You're going to send your son onto somebody's property at nighttime with a package in his arm? I normally, as you know, keep out of other people's business, but I don't know if that's the safest thing to do. I mean, that could be really bad, right? And the husband was like, well, and the wife of the couple, she likes me. We're cool. I'm close to the husband. I'm cool with the wife. We have no animosity towards each other. We like each other, but we don't see each other that much because I'm normally hanging out with the husband. And we're cool. We're cordial. Like if she sees me, she walks up to me, she'll give me a hug, and she's one of those people that kiss you on the mouth, that kind of thing. So we're good. But I could see she was a little annoyed. It was almost like me, the person with no children, was trying to tell her, the person with children, what to do. But she liked me too much to be really angry or to be rude. But you can tell by the way somebody talks to you when they change the tone from their normal speech pattern that they're a little annoyed, and they may even be angry if someone else had said it, and they're a little annoyed at you, but they like you too much to blast you or to curse you out, but they do want to let you know that they disapprove of you going into oh, well, listen, Anthony, I think it's okay. I think I know what I'm doing here. I think it's going to be fine. And I told her the story that I just told you. Went right over her head. She just didn't want to hear it. She'd already made a decision. And the husband, he had went back into the other room at this point because he's watching the fight, and I'm going, I got to go in there. And so I said, well, I just wanted to give you that information because I would feel bad if I didn't say, well, I think I've got this. Okay. I'm like, She gives the boy the package and sends him out. And they're watching the fight, and this is not even my kid. And I'm half watching the fight, and I'm kind of like a little weirded out. I'm like, all I want to do is I just want to hear their door open back up and his boy walk back into the house. I just want that to happen. And this is her son. This is her neighborhood. She knows it better than I do. But I would feel like an idiot if I didn't at least say something. So I said something. I had to say something. Some time goes by, and if you do the math, the amount of time it takes a young, healthy guy who didn't want to deliver the package, not because he was afraid, but because he wanted to watch the fights, because he was, it was on the weekend, they let him stay up. He's a teenager, right around that age where you let him stay. He should not have taken this long. It should have been just run up, drop the package on the porch, ring the bell, give the package, come back. And it's a little longer. It's taken a little longer. It's taken a little longer than it should. Wait a second. And I'm feeling uneasy, and I want to say something. I'm about to say something. But even these two, even the wife who is annoyed with me, she's looking at her watch and she's wondering why he's taking so long. What's going on? And then she looks at me, and I look at her, and she sees the concern on my face, and I see the concern on her face, and the husband I see the concern on his face, and the three of us are looking at each other kind of concerned, and everybody else is oblivious to what's going on. They don't know. They're just watching two dudes kick each other in the mouth. And we're just going, and he goes, maybe I should go down there and see what's going on. I said, you know what? I'll go with you. She goes, I'll go. I said, he goes, no, you stay here. We'll go. And as we're putting our coats on quickly, and so he grabs his car keys, we're going to drive, even though it's not, you're an adult. You're not going to walk. You're going to drive. You know how it is. And as we're walking in, we see, while we're walking down the steps, we're heading towards the car, we see the son walking back. He doesn't have the package, so it was dropped off. But he does not look like somebody who just nonchalantly went down, dropped off a package, and came back with nothing bad happening, because he's uncomfortable. He feels he's now walking up to his dad and hugging his dad. And there's really nothing not normal about a teenage hugging his dad, but he's at that age now. He's at, you get to the teenagers where they're at the age where you're like, man, I don't want to be seen hugging you, Dad. I don't want to drop me off down the block, Dad. I want to be seen, Dad. He was at that age, right? And he's hugging his dad and he's looking at me and he has this weird look on his face. And he looks back up at his dad and we walk into the house. Right, and and I didn't know what he said to his dad, but I know he was not good. I know that much. And his dad's got a little bit of a slightly shell-shocked look on his face. He's trying to be strong. Right? His son's unharmed. He's walking in the house. The son kind of jogs up the house, and he looks at me and he's kind of got this look on his face, a little bit weirded out. And I look at him and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and he doesn't have to tell me anything. I know something bad, but not super bad, but bad happened. And he walks in the house and the son is hugging the mom and the mom's looking at me like shocked. And the kid goes into another room. He goes into the kitchen and grabs a soda. And he goes upstairs and you can hear the video game start up, right? And then the husband and the wife talk. And then the wife sits down and she's kind of looking off into space. And she looks up at me as if to say, okay, I was wrong. And I walk in, the husband, my friend, motions me into the kitchen. And then he tells me the story. And even though he's about to tell me the story, I think I know the story. The son walks up the block by himself, no problem. He gets onto the person's property, no problem. He begins heading towards the door with the package in his hand, and just as I suspected, because sometimes a person, like the mail people, will drop a package on your porch, and if your porch is off to the side, if you live in a cul-de-sac, sometimes you'll have an expensive product sitting on your porch overnight, and you don't even realize it because no one goes on your property, no one goes into this cul-de-sac. It's a very low traffic, so if occasionally you go to sleep and you forget to check, the package is still there, which is apparently what is the case in this particular person's house. They're off to the side a little bit, so okay. If there's a package on the porch, sometimes they wake up and there's a package on the porch and it's just there. And they go, oh man, they delivered my thing last night. I'm glad we live where we live. So what do they see? They see this kid on the porch holding the package, right? And he was looking in the window to see if anybody was in there because he was going to knock on the door. But the person just sees a person holding his package. And what happens? He opens the door and he's got his big dog right there. And he's holding the leash. Fortunately, he's holding the leash and he's cursing. What are you doing, you sassafras and Jehoshaphat? He didn't say sassafras and Jehoshaphat. He said some other stuff, if you understand what I'm saying. Curse words. And the dog wants to eat him. The kid standing there shaking, right? What are you doing? Oh, I can't believe it. You think you're going to get away with stealing? You mother jugs and speed, sassafras and Jehoshaphat? He didn't say mother jugs and speed, sassafras and Jehoshaphat. He said some other stuff, curse words. Fortunately, the kid was able to say, hey, just like I said, my address is flopty floopty floopty floop. I live there. My mom and dad are floopty 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 floop. This package was on our porch instead of your porch, and I was just bringing it back. Oh yeah. Well, if you live at do you know floopty 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 floop? And he rattled off a bunch of neighbors' names, and the guy goes, oh, okay. And then he takes his dog. Hold on, kid. Give me a second. He puts the dog back in the house, closes the door behind him. Gets the pack and says, oh, I'm so sorry, kid. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to scare you, but you can't just show up on somebody's property like that, man. Maybe you should have waited in the morning, or maybe had your parents drive over or something like that, or, maybe got my phone number from somebody, which is exactly what I did in the same circumstance. Maybe you should have done that. It's very dangerous. I mean, my first instinct was just to let the dog out. I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm so sorry, kid. You okay, kid? Yeah. And then he kind of shuffles on home, and that's when we saw him when we walked outside. But think about that for a second. What if that man had let the dog loose? What if that person had a firearm and decided, I'm not putting up with this, blah, 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 and shot through the door, opened the door, and shot this kid? You know what I'm saying? Or came out and beat him down with his hands. The parent was so locked in on getting that package back, even though I had explained the circumstance that was possible, and it literally went down almost exactly like I said it would, because I was aware of the danger, but this person was so locked in on their result that they didn't take into account what could possibly happen. Sometimes we got to step back and look at the whole situation. Or if there's someone who expresses a concern and maybe has a little more knowledge in a specific area, maybe has a little bit more experience in a certain area, we should sit back and we should listen to them. We get locked in sometimes and we make bad decisions. I've done it before because I don't like to drive when I'm tired. I don't do it. And one time I was doing a show and I locked in, and this is a different type of login. I locked in. Girlfriend called me at 1:00 in the morning. I was just coming home from a comedy show and I was tired. You know, I was safe to drive home, but I knew that I was tired. I'm living in a specific city. She's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And she calls me at 1:00. I'm thinking she's just calling to see if I'm okay, if I'm home, if I'm safe, which I really, really appreciate it. It's a nice thing to do. But no, she called for another reason. And current me would have made a different decision. Current me would have made a different decision, because I've had girlfriends call me up as an older guy, whoever lady I was dating, and I was really, really too tired to drive, and they called me to come over there and, you know, how could I put this politely? Boom, boom, jiggy, boom, the boom, jiggy, jiggy. Give her the business, the good, deep business, so good she thinks it's Christmas, if you understand what I'm saying. I wouldn't do that right now. I would say, no, I said, if you really want to be with me, I can come there I can come there early in the morning and bring you breakfast and bring you something else also, which is what I would do now. But I was young and she looked like that. And she was my girlfriend at the time. And we had, you know, boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggy, jiggy hundreds of times. And I really, really loved boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggy, jiggying with her because we had a good time. We tore each other up, if you understand what I'm saying, right? And I had two fantastic shows, standing ovations, chanting my name. It was fantastic and incredible. And what better way to top off an evening, to do two Saturday shows, sold out, standing ovations on each show, people chanting my name, not wanting me to get off stage. And now this beautiful young lady who's my girlfriend, who I know for a fact when I go to her house is gonna be on, is telling me she wants me to come to her house and put it on her. And I said, okay, and got back in the car and started driving. She was 2 hours away, which during the day is not a big deal. When I'm not tired, it's not a big deal. And I, like a moron, decided to do it. And as it turns out, I was okay to drive. It was a safe trip. I'm a safe driver. Got there in 1 hour and 56 minutes. Oh yeah. And I had a key to her place because on occasion I would go over there and she would like, well, just meet me at the house. And I said, oh, call me when you're there. She goes, hey, just take this key. Okay. That way you can I'm going to be home at 6:00. Just make sure you're there, because she wanted me to be where she was in Manhattan. So I had the key. I didn't use it that often, you know, but she wanted me to have it just in case. And this is one of those times that just come on in. I'll be upstairs waiting for you. And I know what that meant. That meant that she would be ready to go, which means the second I walked in the house, it was time to get to business. And by business, I mean getting it on with her. Oh yeah. I get into the building, I get into the elevator, and now I'm starting to feel a little bit tired, but it doesn't really matter because I have never been too tired to boom, boom, jiggy, boom, the boom, jiggy, jiggy. Even as a middle-aged man now, I still have never been too tired if the woman's actually there to boom, boom, jiggy, boom, the boom, jiggy, jiggy, and I don't need Viagra. So you know what I'm saying. A boom, boom, jiggy, the boom, jiggy, jiggy, right? But I am feeling a little tired. Young me is feeling a little tired as I go up in the elevator. Right? Now I'm sitting there going, man, it doesn't really matter that I'm tired because I'm going to give her this good deep business so good she thinks it's Christmas, and I'm going to be sleeping. We're going to go to sleep with her delicious body on top of me after giving her the business anyway, and I'll be rested tomorrow, and then I'm going to give her some more boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggity, jiggity, and then go home. But I was tired, right? And I knew it was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done it, but I locked in on the fact that imagining her would boom, boom, jiggy. Right, so I got the key and I'm already thinking I'm about to get in there, man, and I'm going to give her the business jack. And the key's not working. I'm like, what the hell? Is this the right key? It looks like the right key. And I'm trying the key and it ain't working. And I hear somebody behind her moving around. I'm thinking, oh, she's probably got some kind of surprise for me. She's probably wearing something good. She's probably, doing some kind of weird. She probably got some roses spread down or some weird crap that I love. And then I'm going to go there and I hear behind the door. And I'm going, I don't think she has a weapon. And then I look up and I realize I should have been on the 3rd floor, but I'm on the 4th floor. And this person is about to shoot through the door. And I go, whoa, wrong apartment. The person goes, you better get away from my door. I said, I'm sorry, I meant to go with it. And I explain, and the person goes, I said, yeah, because everybody in her apartment building knows each other. But they didn't know me for some reason. I mean, he knew me, but this was like it's 3:00 in the morning, right? So it's and I say my name. Oh, yeah, you're a bloopty bloops dude, right? Yeah, so you say, man, he says, man, you on the wrong floor, bro. I said, I'm sorry, man. He goes, man, I was about to blow you down. I'm glad I didn't. I said, I'm glad you didn't too. All right, man, sorry about that. Oh, man, you just getting there? I said, yeah. Oh, I know what you about to do. Ha ha, through the door. Right, I went from almost getting murdered to to jokes with this guy. I said, I don't want to talk about that. No, you I don't know why you still up here, man. You better get down there and do what you got to do. All right, man, I'm going back to bed, man. Take care. I'm like, all right, bye. Thanks for not murdering me. And I go downstairs. I walk in the room. I don't tell her the story because I know she's going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so glad. Because she would have been upset and freaked out, and I didn't want to mess up the mood. So I gave her the boom, I boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggity, jiggity there from 3 to 4:30. Rested for about 2 minutes because I was young then. Give her another boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggity. Basically, we boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggity, jiggity for about 3, 4, 5 hours because, well, I'm S. Anthony. Anyway. And then I told her the story and she was, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? She was mad that I didn't tell her. I'm like, you really think you're sitting there in the lingerie and I'm about to give you the boom, boom, jig, and you think I'm going to ruin the mood by telling you that story? She goes, yeah, well, I guess you have a point. Now, I got the boom, boom, jiggity, boom, the boom, jiggy, jiggy, this delicious woman a whole bunch of times. So I'm not sorry that I made the 2-hour trip. But I was tired enough that I went to the wrong door and I could have gotten blown down. And by blown down, I mean, blah, right through the door. Or open up the door, blah. Because I wasn't in my right mind. Obviously, if I got off on the wrong floor, I was so locked in on being with her that I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. And I almost made a fatal mistake. And if you really think about it, maybe I was so tired. If I made that mistake, maybe I might have made a mistake driving. I didn't. But who knows? You can't lock in all the time. Sometimes you got to pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the circumstances. Don't get so locked in. And I'll never let that happen to me again. Right? Now, I was with that lady for a little while after that. And I always said, and she would call again at 1:00. I'm like, nah. She goes, it's not like you're going to go to the wrong door again. I said, no, but I might make another mistake like that. Right? I didn't want that to happen. So what I'm saying is we have to make sure that we pay attention to what's going on around us. We're always going to make mistakes. And there might be a period in time where there's some kind of emergency and I have to drive when I don't feel like I need to drive, or I may make a mistake. Nobody's perfect. I may make a mistake, but for the most part, you got to pay attention to the circumstance around the decision that we're making and what could possibly happen. Because a lot of times the thing that could possibly happen is going to be a minor inconvenience, not a big deal. But in the case of my buddy's son, that could have been horrible. And in the case of young me, just thinking about her beautiful buttocks and eating food off of it, I almost made a dumb decision by not paying attention. So what I'm saying, my friends, is we always got to make sure we're paying attention, because if we don't, we're going to wind up making stupid decisions, and we're not always going to be as lucky as I was or as that young man was. You dig? Cool. because I know you're capable of great decisions. Why? Because you're listening to me, baby. What better decision is that? Because this podcast is now over. And I'm going to thank you for coming. And I know I see you in Australia. I see those new listeners in Australia. I see you. Just make sure you stay nice and alive, because I know every bug and fish in that country can kill you. So be safe, my friends. My YouTube music people that are coming on strong, thank you very, very much. Much love to you. And my people have been here with me for the whole 10 years and change that I've been doing this. Thank you very much. You know what? I love every last one of you. And I just want to say one thing. If you love this podcast, and you do me a favor, my friends, subscribe to this podcast, because you should. If you listen on Spotify, follow. If you're on iTunes or any of these other places, subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it, because I know it's everywhere. This podcast is everywhere. Tell a friend to listen to this podcast. Make sure you're here every week, my friends, because I will be here every week, my friends. Okay. Much love to you all. I love talking to you, and I will see you again next time, my friends. Take care.